Engines roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray. Louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rumble here this evening, as it is the Outcast Racing League ready to go to battle, ready to duke it out here this evening for the Midland Struggler 270. Midland Struggler coming on board here this evening as the Midland Struggler 270 here from Chicagoland Speedway, and all these drivers, they are ready to go to battle. They are ready to duke it out here in this one. 110 laps of racing action here this evening, and for these drivers, that is a lot of time. It's a lot of laps. It is a lot of opportunities to try to put yourself up and into victory lane and try to advance yourself into the next round of our playoffs. As each and every one of these competitors get ready to rumble, my boy Cameron Combs says, "Let's go, Kurt!" Cheering on Kurt here this evening. My boy James Garland, what's good, James? James says, "Let's fucking go, baby. Let's go, James." How are you, brother? How are you doing this evening? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day, as each and every one of these drivers, they came to play. They came to try to put themselves up and into victory lane, as my boy, hey, it's Kev over there on YouTube says, gonna give it our best in that 20 ride here this evening as he gets ready to go to battle. All these drivers get ready to duke it out, as we will see two stages here this evening. So two stages, two opportunities for drivers to try to earn that extra little bit of points that they may need to advance into the next round of our Outcast Racing League playoffs here this evening. And for all these drivers, man, it's now or never. You got to make sure you make the right moves the right time, put yourself into the right position to try and pick up a checkered flag here this afternoon. As Wayne Garland says, happy B-Day to the 81 of Anthony Garland. It's Anthony's birthday. What? Anthony, brother, happy mother fluffing birthday. What in the world? Shout out there to Anthony Garland. Happy birthday. Only 22 years young here. Actually, I don't know. I have no idea how old he is. He's probably like my age. But nonetheless, happy mother fluffing birthday, Anthony. Mr. Garland gets to start this race in the 5th position as well in that beautiful Poor Boy Motorsports ride. Is happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anthony and Johnny. Happy birthday to you. As it is also Johnny Thunder's birthday as well. So Anthony Garland and Johnny Thunders both sharing the same birthday. Both out there on the racetrack looking to try to pick up a birthday win here this evening. But they're going to have to beat a lot of these fast cars out there on the racetrack. As Chris Muse will start in that pole position. Kurt Sponsler in that beautiful Midland Struggler, a sponsored series driver out there on the racetrack in that 49 ride, starts in position number 2. Billy Jordan, Caleb McKinney, Al Reed, and Anthony Garland are top 6 with Ryan Haller, Kevin Black, Chad Lancaster, and Casey Gross rounding out our top 10 as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here this evening from Chicagoland Speedway. Chris Muse on the loud pedal looking to try to run away with this one. Looking to try to maybe pick up a big first stage win, try to earn those extra points and put himself into a solid position to start this race as we see everyone battling back there behind him, 2-3 wide as drivers trying to navigate their way up and through the field. A lot of movement right here as a lot of these drivers trying to race their way up and through the top 10. A lot of drivers are trying to hang on to their rides. Caleb McKinney early on sliding back a few spots here in that number 76 machine. Adolfo Castillo, Casey Gross, Josh Bromfield, Cameron Combs back there, same with Johnny Thunders in that 16th position. He's got the 16 rider Gary Wright right there behind him, and Edward Belair right there as well in that beautiful 25 ride. Bringing up the rear of the field is Thomas Martucci, unfortunately not out there on the racetrack as of right now for the 40 ride. Tough break, definitely not where you want to be early on in this race. We do see Robert Kuiski. He's starting to make some moves here. That RT3 Designs ride, trying to race his way up and through the top 10. Now up 5 positions early in this race and into that 8th position and try to work down low underneath of that Quantum Motorsports number 70 rider. Mike Killingbeck for position number 7. Kuiski definitely moving forward early on as this could be one of those races where tire wear could play a pretty good factor. It could become a huge issue for a lot of these drivers trying to keep themselves out of trouble, trying to keep these cars rolling out there on the racetrack and not making very many mistakes out there on the racetrack. As Anne-Marie Davis says, that was beautiful. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you all enjoyed it. There is definitely a huge happy birthday again to Anthony Garland and Johnny Thunders here this evening. As Sure says, go, 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 number 20, Ryan Haller. Every car legit. Yeah, every car is legit. Every car out there on the racetrack is putting on a great show for us here early on. Some good racing as you do see that 20 ride the old machine here this evening. Ryan Haller, we'll see him out there on the racetrack twice today. We will see him not only in this race competing here in the Outcast Racing League, but we'll also see him in our other league later on this evening with the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. So he's pulling the double here on Peacemaker this afternoon, and for that 20 ride, he's looking to try to put himself up and into victory lane as Kurt Sponsler in that beautiful 49 ride, the ESR Midland Struggler number 49 rolling right there in position number 2. If there's going to be any race for Sponsler to finally find victory lane, it is going to be this one as the Midland Struggler 270. He's got that Midland Struggler logo riding on board with him here this evening and pretty much every race throughout the season, but this is the one that he really wants. He really wants to find victory lane and put that car up and into the top spot here, and hey, man, it would be absolutely amazing story for him to win his first race here in the Midland Struggler 270 here this evening. As David Durant Jr. says, go Kurt, cheering on Kurt here this evening as Mr. Sponsler right now in that second spot, but he's looking to take that race lead away here from Chris Muse. Muse hanging on to it though, able to lead our first 7 laps of this race, and we see Billy Jordan right there as well. Billy having a great run in that Geek Bar. Poor Boy Motorsports Toyota as he rolls in position number 3 on the racetrack, has the birthday boy Anthony Garland right there behind him. So many stories here throughout the opening portion of this race as we see Anthony, one of our birthday drivers here this afternoon. He's rolling there in third. A heck of a run for Billy Jordan and trying to capture a potentially his best finish of the year here this evening if he can keep it up inside the top 5 here in this one. Chris Muse leading the way, but Kurt Sponsler, our sponsored car here this evening with the Midland Struggler logo on the side of it, looking to take that race lead away. Then we see drivers like Robert Tuwisku, who continues to move himself up and through the field early on in this race, but all of a sudden gets a little bit loose right there. Down and out of corner number 4, looks like maybe a little contact between him and Anthony Garland. They both get bent out of shape, and they both slide back a couple spots. Now back in 7th and 8th on the racetrack, but here comes Anthony quickly right back into the battle as they're 3 wide back here for position number 5 here on the racetrack. 3 wide racing here in the Outcast Racing League, and now leading this race is that ESR, the Elite Sim Racing Midland Struggler number 49 ride. It's Kurt Sponsler now at the front of the field. It didn't take him long. He bided his time, waited for the opportunity to strike, and he takes that race lead away from Chris Muse. Muse slides back into position number 2 with Sponsler now out in front and looking to try to open up a big lead and trying to run away with this one, trying to put all these drivers back there behind him, trying to make sure that he can open up a bit of a gap and keep them all back there as he's looking to try to pick up this checkered flag. As right now we do have our stage break coming up here very shortly. Lap 25 will be the end of stage number 1. Lap 50 will be the end of stage 2, and then we will have a 60 lap race to the checkered flag. So for all these drivers, they know that they're going to have a couple fairly quick stages here. They don't really have to worry too much about tires. They don't really have to worry too much about fuel. All they really got to do is make sure that they can just keep their cars pointing in the right direction, find that pure speed out of their rides, not make any mistakes, and try to put themselves up and into a good position to maybe try and earn some amazing stage points here on the evening, and stage points that you may need to try to advance into the next round. As we did see a few drivers kind of hang back and fall back early on in this race, but it doesn't really seem like tire wear going to be a huge difference maker. We're already 12 laps into this race. Tire wear potentially maybe about 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second of tire wear, so really not a whole lot of issues when it comes to the tires as of right now. We may see even more tire fall off as the race progresses, where we start to get over that 15-20 laps into the run. But for right now, it looks like everyone's tires hanging up strong right now, and we do see Chris Muse making a big move right there, and Muse is going to take that race lead away from that 49 ride. So for Kurt Sponsler, he does slide back into second. Muse takes that race lead back away from him as Billy Jordan there in third. Robert Tuwisku in position number 4 and looking for more. He's up 9 spots on the racetrack from where he started all the way back, I do believe, in the 13th position, 14th position on the racetrack in this number 6 ride, quickly working his way up inside the top 5. Now you see Mike Killing back right there. Ryan Haller there trying to get into that battle up inside the top 5. There's that NCNSB.com number 02 machine right there, as well as a little contact into the fence. Now you see Ryan Haller up there as well. Oh baby, we're on like Donkey Kong now, as each and every one of these competitors looking to try to race their way up to the front of the field, and it's a dogfight back here behind our top 2 competitors. As Chris Muse leads the way, Billy Jordan now into second. Unfortunately, we did see Kurt Sponsler slide all the way back here. He's kind of stuck in the middle, continues to slide back. A little contact right there between him and the 77 of Casey Gross. Casey trying to hang on to that ride, bounces it off the wall a couple times. Doesn't look like too much damage, and able to keep on rolling, but will lose a couple spots here himself, as you start to see maybe some drivers that were trying to take it a little bit easier on their tires, maybe not trying to burn them up as quickly as some others, and they're starting to navigate their way up and through the field. One of those being this Overton 76 ride of Caleb McKinney. McKinney early on fell back about 7-8 spots on the racetrack outside the top 10, and all of a sudden this number 76 right back into the fight here, racing his way now inside the top 5, looking underneath of Ryan Haller, and now the 81 rider Anthony Garland, and trying to make quick work of him. That 02 at Jack Lancaster, he's been driving up and through all these guys as well, and quickly reeling in our race leaders here this evening, as tire wear maybe is a little bit more of a factor here. Some of these drivers that have the little bit fresher tires running some pretty solid lap times, where everyone else maybe a little bit more off the pace here, as the 99 of Chris Muse continues to lead the way. So that's going to be something we'll have to keep an eye on here over our next couple runs and see kind of where these drivers are going to be, where they're going to be slotted in, and how they got to kind of keep themselves out of trouble out there on the speedway, as this is going to be very, very fun to see. This is going to be very interesting to watch how these guys are going to be able to get down pit road and make their moves and make these pit stops work here this evening, as we do see Muse continues to lead the way, and now we do see that 20 right getting shoved down the back straightaway here from the 76 of Caleb McKinney. McKinney now going to dive down to the inside here, looking to get a 2-for-1, trying to go around Haller and Lancaster. Haller, though, doing a great job, hangs to his outside. They're door-to-door back behind the number 99 of Chris Muse. Muse continues to hang on to this race lead. Muse out in front that time around, ran about a 10th quicker than those two, but they were racing 2 wide, 3 wide out there on the racetrack, as Mrs. Haller says, keep your eyes on the number 20, says, keep your eyes on that 20 ride. Here comes Haller. He is looking to not be on the hauler here this evening, looking to try to be up and in victory lane, and for that Reeser's DeWalt 20 ride, battling hard right here with Caleb McKinney, and that's exactly what Chris Muse wants to see. He wants to see those two continue to battle and duke it out. Maybe a little door-to-door, maybe a little elbows up, rubbing and scrubbing, where it slows them down a little bit, where maybe he can get enough of an advantage, maybe hold these guys off and still pick up this stage win. But it's going to be very, very tight. It's going to be very interesting, as here comes Al Reed now. Al Reed showing some good speed as well in that number 3 ride. First time we've seen this beautiful Elite Sim Racing number 3 ride start to navigate his way up inside the top 5 after falling back early on. Billy Jordan now back into 6th. Anthony Garland there in 7th, as Casey Gross, Mike Killingbeck, and Adolfo Castillo right there behind him, rounding out our top 10. Devin Black there in 11th, with Robert Tuwiscu all the way back now into 12th. Cameron Combs there in 13th with Edward Belair. Gary Wright, Kurt Sponsler in 16th. Josh Bromfield, Johnny Thunders, our top 18 out there on the racetrack, as Chris Muse continues to lead the way, and he's been able to hold this gap just a little over half a second between himself and Caleb McKinney. McKinney trying to close that gap, but we only got a few laps left here in stage number 1 this afternoon. Haller sitting right there in 3rd, has Lancaster and Al Reed back behind him, as here comes Reed now down to the inside of that 0-2 right. Al looking to try to pick up another spot and slide up into position number 4 here in stage number 1, as Muse down across the line, still holding that gap just a little over that half a second marker, and with only a couple laps left to go for Caleb McKinney, he's got to try to find everything he can, hoping that the 99 ride makes a mistake or two where he can maybe try to close that gap and reel him in as down the back straightaway. He gets a pretty solid run right there, cuts that gap down to about 0.3 of a second, but there is the caution flag. Caution flag will be displayed, and that will end our stage as a couple of drivers tore up, and one of them being the birthday boy here this evening, Anthony Garland, tied up here in this one. Pretty solid damage there for the 70 ride. Looks like Mike Killingbeck getting some damage there as well, tied up in this one, as we'll take a look back and see what happens and what brings out our first yellow of the evening. Caleb McKinney down to the inside of these guys, and look at this fight. The gang of cars right here, 3-4 wide racing here at Chicagoland Speedway, and all of a sudden just the air and try not to hit the 31 ride. They end up making contact, and that's what gets this started. For the 31, he can't really go up any higher. He's kind of locked in right there to the outside lane, and unfortunately for Anthony Garland, looks like that car definitely struggling, sliding backwards, and unfortunately washes up the track a little bit. Adolfo can't go any farther up there. They make contact, shoves the 81 down across the nose of the 70 rod. You see Robert Tuwiscu getting some damage in there. The 15 ride of Cameron Combs also getting some contact. Killingbeck, after getting hit in the back end from the 6 ride, gets shoved up the track and into the outside fence. Pretty solid contact there for him. And then we see Anthony Garland just trying to avoid more damage and more contact here after bouncing off the 31, bouncing off the 70, gets a little lick into that outside fence, and then makes more contact there with the 70 ride of Killingbeck. Straightens him back out, and they both keep on rolling. Unfortunately, some pretty solid solid damage there for all those competitors getting tied up there, as we do see our first wave of green flag pits, or caution flag pit stops here, as we do see Kurt Sponsler down pit side. We see Cameron Combs. A lot of these drivers heading down pit road here. Here comes Haller as well. Chad Lancaster, Robert Tuiscu, Edward Belair, Kurt Sponsler down pit side. We do see Gary Wright down pit road. Anthony Garland trying to get repairs and trying to get that 81 ride fixed up and back out there. Same with Mike Killingbeck and Johnny Thunders in that 60 ride. So we see virtually a little bit over half of the field head down pit road right there as first stage in the books. Haynes Kemp says, what a first stage. Yeah, what a first stage that was, man. That was absolutely some great racing action, and that stage is going to come to a close with Chris Muse picking up the stage win. Now, Muse, Caleb McKinney, who came home second there in that stage. Al Reed, who came home fourth in that stage, now into third. Casey Gross, Devin Black, and Josh Bromfield not coming down pit road here. So a little bit of a different strategy, a little bit of a different move here, not heading down pit side. Now we do see the lights turned off, the official iRacing pace car, and that means we are going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. Our top 6 did not come down pit road, did not get tires, did not get fuel. They're hoping that they can make it to stage number 2 here and maybe try to save that extra set of tires for later in this race. So expect to see these guys fall back very, very quickly, and then just hope that they can be fast enough and quick enough that they can stay on the lead lap and not go a lap down, so they can try to have that extra set for a little later in this race where everyone else may run out of tires. They may have that one set still back there behind the wall that they can throw on and just cruise control all around these other drivers late in this race. So it's definitely a bold strategy, definitely a tough strategy, and you're going to give up probably some pretty good stage points here in stage number 2 to try to get that lucky break, trying to get that strategy rolling, as Chris Muse, Caleb McKinney, Al Reed, Casey Gross, Josh Bromfield, and Devin Black are top 6 out there on the racetrack. And then you see that 14 ride of Billy Jordan. Billy rolls there in that 7th spot with Cameron Combs, who was outside. The 0-2 Chad Lancaster, the 6 Robert Tuiscu are top 10. Gary Wright, Edward Belair, Kurt Sponsler, Johnny Thunders, Mike Killingbeck, Ronnie Haller, Anthony Garland back there in the 16th, 17th position with Mr. Haller there as well, and Adolfo Castillo, unfortunately, down pit road here, making a late pit stop here. Is everyone else getting up to speed and starting to race down through corner number 1 and 2? Adolfo just hits his pit box there in that poultry shack, number 31. I'm not sure what the issue is there with that 31 ride, but all of a sudden he may potentially be going a lap down, but here comes the 99 ride. Chris Muse also going to head down pit road, so a bunch of the strategy here for these drivers is a bit of a wild card one right here. Definitely a risky kind of run out there on the racetrack as Muse, Casey Gross, Devin Black all head down pit side. Adolfo Castillo just trying to get back up to speed, trying to roll back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately for this 31 ride, he does fall a lap down, so I'm not sure what this strategy is going to do or how this strategy is going to help these guys out, as now Adolfo a lap down. We got to wait and see if Chris Muse, Devin Black, Casey Gross, any of these drivers can jump out there and stay in front of the rest of the field, as here comes Caleb McKinney and Josh Bromfield also down pit side here as well, as there we go. There goes the field around Chris Muse. That will put Chris Muse now a lap down as well. I'm not sure about these strategy calls. I'm not sure about how this one's going to work out for them, as now they're going to need some caution flags and potentially some waiver rounds or lucky dogs to try to put themselves back into the competition here this evening. Caleb McKinney now rolling back out here as well. Here comes our race leaders, as it is the 0-2, that N Sea NSB ride of Chad Lancaster. Lancaster with the race lead here in this one. Cameron Combs there in second. Anthony Garland, Gary Wright, Johnny Thunders are top 5 out there on the racetrack. As good to see a couple of our birthday boys up there inside the top 5. Anthony Garland, they're in position number 2 here. Sitting pretty right now is that 81, right, just got tied up in that last caution flag, was able to get that car repaired, and now here he is battling up into position number 2. Johnny Thunder is the second birthday boy of the day there in that beautiful number 60 ride, rolls in position number 5 on the racetrack, looking for 4th down low and underneath of that 15 of Cameron Combs, as here comes Edward Belair. Ryan Haller back up into 7th, Robert Tuiscu there in 8th with Kurt Sponsler, Mike Killingback, Billy Jordan, our top 11. Al Reed now down pit sign here himself as well. So Reed having to make that green flag pit stop here as well. And unfortunately for Al Reed, that's going to put him easily a lap down and maybe even more, as he may have gotten a penalty. As we do see this car actually exit the racing surface there. Now it's back. He's just blinking a little bit out there on the racetrack, but he's already 1 lap down and still parked down pit side. And for Al Reed, going to go potentially a couple laps down here. And for that Elite Sim Racing ZZX digital ride, it may unfortunately take him out of this race. As Brian says, what is this? Sat morning cartoons? I don't understand this. It's racing, baby. It is racing action here this evening on Peacemaker Gaming, as there is that 3 ride. Al Reed finally able to roll back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, is now a couple laps down and potentially could go 3 laps down here before the end of the stages. Here comes our race leaders down and out of corner number 4. Back down across the start finish line in 34 laps of racing action. Now into the history books here this evening is Lancaster, Anthony Garland, Johnny Thunders, our top 3 out there on the speedway. Edward Belair back in position number 4 and looking for more with Ryan Haller into position number 5. So Haller into the 5th spot, trying to get that DeWalt Toyota Camry back up towards the front of the field. Edward Belair, the next car right in front of him. He's going to look to try to make quick work of that number 25 ride. As we see Gary right there in 6th with Kurt Sponsler back in 7th and Cameron Combs in position number 8. Tuiscu and Killingback our top 10. Then we see Billy Jordan back at 11th, and then our first car 1 lap down that 99 ride of Chris Muse. Is Muse rolling out there on the racetrack as he says, oh, now I get it. Now you get it. Okay, I'm glad you get it now, Brian. I'm glad you get it now, brother. As out in front, it's Lancaster, who continues to lead this race. The Land N Sea NSB.com ride continues to show these drivers how to get it done, as he's looking to try to pick up stage win number 2 here this evening. As that 0-2 ride out in front, Garland trying to hunt him down. See what Johnny Thunders as our 2 birthday boys, the 2 birthday drivers out there on the racetrack, currently sitting 2nd and 3rd on the speedway. Man, what it would be for a story to tell to everyone here if you're able to get the job done and find victory lane here on your birthday. Man, there would be no better feeling and no better birthday gift than trying to find yourself up and into victory lane here at Chicagoland Speedway in the Outcast Racing League here this evening on your birthday. As Lancaster trying to play that spoiler, though, has the 0-2 ride out in front and looking to try to hold them and the rest of the field off, and all these drivers back there behind him trying to desperately trying to hunt him down and look to try to knock him out of that top spot here on the racetrack. As Playford cheats, what's good, Playford? Playford coming in, showing the love with that like on the stream. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button here this evening. As James Garland says, 4 wide. Anthony Garland would have hit Mike if he went down, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yeah, definitely a tough spot there, man. A 4 wide, unfortunately, doesn't always work out perfectly, and it gets very tight there out of corner number 2 for a lot of these drivers, and that's where we saw that contact for our first caution flag, which does bring out our the finish of that first stage. It was a lucky break for everyone else, as they didn't have to keep on battling and try to hold on to their stage points, and for others, they were able to slide up inside the top 10 and earn a couple stage points there at the end of that first stage. But here in stage number 2, it's coming to a close in a quick hurry. Only 10 laps left to go here in stage number 2. Chad Lancaster, he's looking to try to pick up the checkered flag. Anthony Garland right there behind him. Anthony trying to hunt him down, and he is closing that gap. The Poor Boy Motorsports, Peacemaker Gaming, Outcast Racing League number 81 ride right there. Starting to push the subject, maybe starting to push it a little too far. We saw him right there get into the outside fence, make a little contact there with the wall. Hopefully not too much damage or anything else, or any tire scrubs there for the 81 run. But you can see he's definitely got that little extra speed, and he finds a great run down through 3 and 4, now down to the inside, and he will take that race lead away from Chad Lancaster. So Lancaster slides back into position number 2 in that 0-2 ride as Anthony Garland takes the race lead away, as here comes Ryan Haller. Haller trying to hunt them down in a quick hurry here. He's got about a second gap between himself and our race leader Anthony Garland, and he is trying to maybe pick up the stage win here in stage number 2 as Johnny Thunders falls back into 4th, Edward Belair there in 5th. Kurt Sponsler back in 6th with Gary Wright. Cameron Combs there in 8th, Robert Tuwisco and Mike Killingback rounding out our top 10. And then we see Billy Jordan there in 11th. Chris Mew still the first car, 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. Now, luckily enough for this number 99 ride, if we see that caution flag for the stage come out, the 99 sitting right now in that lucky dog position where he can get that wave around and back onto the lead lap here this evening and get himself back into the action here today. But for Casey Gross, Caleb McKinney, Adolfo Castillo, Josh Bromfield, Devin Black, and Al Reed, they all find themselves either a lap down or multiple laps down and desperately needing that caution flag, and many more to help them out and try to put themselves back onto the lead lap here this afternoon as Anthony Garland out in front here, trying to run away with this one as Haller now has worked himself around Chad Lancaster, and Haller up and into position number 2. So from the back of the pack now towards the front of the field for this 20 ride. Haller looking for another great finish in this stage, trying to set himself up perfectly for a beautiful point stay here at Chicagoland Speedway as he heads down the back straight away, looking to try to close that gap here on Anthony Garland. Garland trying to manage that gap here, trying to hold that 20 ride back there at bay and trying to earn himself some extra stage points here in a bonus playoff point to try to work himself through these stages of our playoffs and trying to advance himself into that championship race at Daytona International Speedway as our season finale not too far away, ladies and gentlemen. This season quickly coming to a close, and I do believe we got about 3 races after this one. So we got Charlotte and Talladega, and then we head to Daytona International Speedway for our full-length 200-lap, 500-mile race there at Daytona International Speedway for our season finale here on Peacemaker Gaming and for the Outcast Racing League. So this season quickly coming to a close, and then these drivers will take a short bit of a break, probably half a month or so. I know they're going to definitely take a bit of a break, trying to find new drivers, bring new guys in, and expand the series to more and more competitors there, and we'll have some more fun out there on the racetrack. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how long they take and how long we'll have to wait until we see them back out there on the racetrack. But as of right now, it is the 81 of Anthony Garland who continues to lead the way. The birthday boy, one of the birthday boys here at the front of the field, but Haller right there with them, about 2/10 of a second now the gap between the 81 and this 20 ride. Anthony trying to hold him back there at bay for only about another 2.5 laps, trying to win stage number 2 here this evening. But for Haller, looking to try to steal the stage win away from that 81 machine. Edward Belair now up into 3rd, Gary right there in 4th, and Chad Lancaster now rounding out our top 5. Kurt Sponsler in that Midland Struggler number 49 ride rolls there in that 6th position, with Johnny Thunders in that BuildSubmarines.com number 60 there in 7th. Cameron Combs, Robert Tuwisco, and Mike Killingback rounding out our top 10 here this evening as out in front Anthony Garland down across the line. We'll see only one more lap left to go here in stage number 2. One more lap here for Anthony to try to win this stage. Is down across the line. They will complete lap 49. At the completion of lap number 50, we will see this yellow flag be displayed, and our caution flag will come out for the second time here this evening as the second stage will come to an end, and that will set drivers up for a big final run on the day. As here you go, the 20 ride of Ryan Haller down low, looking to try to make that last-ditch effort to try to steal this stage win away from Anthony Garland. Garland, though, hugging that outside lane, looking for a big run, and he will beat the 20 ride of Haller back down across the line. So Anthony Garland will win stage number 2 here this evening. So stage number 2 going into the history books, and it's Anthony Garland who picks up that stage win. Ryan Haller will come home in that second spot with Gary Wright back in third. Then we see Edward Belair, Chad Lancaster, Kurt Sponsler, Johnny Thunders, Cameron Combs, Robert Tuisku, and Mike Killingback rounding out our top 10 out there on the speedway. Unfortunately for Billy Jordan, he's back in 11th. And for Casey Gross, Casey was able to race his way up and around Chris Muse, and Casey actually puts himself now into that lucky dunk position. The free pass spot could go right here to the 77 run, getting himself back onto the lead lap for all these other drivers that are a lap down or multiple laps down back here. Maybe going to have to wait for more caution flags, more opportunities to get these lucky dogs or wave arounds and try to figure out a way to put themselves into what could be a winning strategy here this evening, or just trying to get themselves back into the competition, and some very fast cats there at the front of the field. As Anthony Garland leading the way here, wins stage number 2, the birthday boy, one of the drivers that brought out that first caution flag of the day back on lap number 23. Now all of a sudden we do see all these drivers right back into the action, right back into the hunt here, as it'll stack everyone back together. Everyone's headed down pit road looking to get some fuel, tires, and everything else here in this one, as Mrs. Aller says 20 close to that gap, says close that gap, trying to hunt down that 81 run. He closed it, unfortunately just couldn't quite get there. As he said, had a speeding penalty, had to start from the back. Really happy with that run. Yeah, definitely happy with that run. We saw you had to start at the back of the pack. I wasn't sure if maybe you came down pit road after everyone else did, trying to make sure you finished that stage off up in position 3 there in that first run, but coming home in position number 2 there in stage number 2. So and Haller's looking good, looking pretty solid here this evening, hoping not to get another speeding penalty and give up all that track position once again, as he did go from the rear of the field up to the front there, battling door to door with the 81 Anthony Garland for that stage win here in stage number 2, but unfortunately fell just about half a car length shy, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing. Another perfect restart, or perfect pit stop there for this 0-2 ride of Chad Lancaster, as Lancaster he'll come out in front, will have that race lead. Johnny Thunders there in second, Kurt Sponsler up and into third. Anthony Garland, Ryan Haller are top 5, with Edward Belair, Gary Wright, Cameron Combs, Mike Killingback, and Billy Jordan rounding out our top 10. Robert Tuisku back there in 11th, and Casey Gross does get that wave around the free pass back onto the lead lap. He will come out in position number 12 on the racetrack. Chris Muse down pit side, Josh Bromfield also down pit road here. For those two drivers, they will officially go at least 2 laps down here this evening, so a tough break for them, as we do see Caleb McKinney. Kenny was hoping to get that wave around here, trying to get himself back onto the lead lap. Same with Adolfo Castillo and that number 7 of Devin Black, as they are still scored a lap down out on the racetrack. Chris Muse will stay a lap down. Same with Josh Bromfield. Al Reed stayed out. He was hoping to get that wave as well, trying to at least get a lap back. Can only be 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, but I'm not sure if they're going to get those waves or not. They may have to just line up at the back of the pack, as here we go, getting ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one, as Chad Lancaster leads us here in the Midland Struggler 270. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today, as we get ready to go back to battle for our final stage of racing action here in the Outcast Racing League, live from Chicagoland Speedway's Lancaster here. Down through the Geico restart zone, gets a great launch. Quickly onto the lap pedal and open up a good lead. Down through corner number 1 and 2 goes that 0-2 ride as the N Sea NSB 0-2 leads us here in Chicagoland. Anthony Garland in his Poor Boy Motorsports number 81 ride rolls there in second with Johnny Thunders in the Midland Struggler 49 and Krafts Stuff door to door for third and fourth. And here comes Ryan Haller. Haller right down through the middle here. Haller will make the move. He's looking to jump up inside the top 3 and some contact a little further back there. My gosh, that was definitely not the way drivers had this one lined up, and we will see a quick caution flag as I do believe we're going to see Josh Bromfield unfortunately run into some issues here, potentially Adolfo Castillo as well. As Adolfo a little farther forward there, you see him sliding on the racetrack, and yeah, that's exactly where we're going to see it. As it just looks like this 31 just loses the rear end. Unfortunately, these chickens do not fly in. There's where he gets the contact. Looks like that 99 rider Chris Muse going to get a piece of him right there and help him go around. Let's take a look at it here as Muse down to the inside. The 99 just gets a little loose, washes up the track, and a little neck coat. I think he was going to make contact with him no matter what. Knocked him loose the first time and then drove up into him there, and unfortunately loses that rear end in that 31. They make more contact. And there finally the 31 ride goes around off the nose of the 99 of Chris Muse. Comes up onto the racetrack, pointing the wrong direction and stopped there on the speedway. The officials getting a great look at it as our flag man right there. Quickly throwing that caution flag, making sure that everybody is safe and okay out there on the speedway. And for those drivers that got tore up and tied up there in that yellow, they're going to have an opportunity to try to head down pit road, make some changes, hope to try to get their cars fixed up and ready to rumble here for our next restart. As we do see a couple drivers making some tough calls here. Anthony Garland going to give up that race lead. He heads down pit road. So Anthony Garland heads down pit side here in that 81 machine as he heads down pit road, looking to get that extra little bit of fuel into the tank here. Same with Gary Wright, probably trying to make sure these calculators are working perfectly, trying to make sure that they can try to hit any of this pit strategy to the best of their possibilities here this evening, even with just a couple laps since everyone else was down pit road and most of those laps being under the caution flag here. Still doesn't hurt. Head down pit road, make sure you get these things topped up and roll it back out there as we see Chris Muse. Muse, unfortunately, still a lap down there in that number 99 ride. He heads down pit road looking to try to get some repairs there after making that contact. And for Caleb McKinney, great news there for McKinney with that caution flag. He does race his way back onto the lead lap as he will get that lucky dog back into the action here this evening. He will get lined up at the rear of the field, but now scored in position number 13 and now back on the lead lap. So a great break right there for this number 76. If we'll get ready to rock and roll, we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. We are just a little over halfway through this race now. As halfway in, halfway to go here this evening. And for these drivers, only a few caution flags out there on the racetrack. Only a couple for incident, one for our stage break here. But now a couple quick caution flags, the stage break and that contact there, and the caution coming right back out after our second stage comes to a close. Everyone knows that it's time to go now. Our third and final stage of the day, and your last opportunity to maybe try to find yourself up and into victory lane here this evening. Could ride on, certain restarts or just some good runs out there on the racetrack and try to open up a sizable lead or race down race leaders and try to push yourself up to victory lane. As we'll get them ready to rock and roll, we'll get ready to go back to battle, and as we do, we are going to jump into our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up. Yo, what's good, Jacob? Mr. Cannon, what's good, Jacob? Jacob coming in, showing the love, says, sup, Peacemaker Gaming? What's up, Jacob? How are you, Mr. Cannon? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day. As James Garland says, LGF. Anthony says, let's go. I think of it. Is LGF? What is that? Is it LFG? Let's fucking go. I don't know what LGF is. Let's go. I don't know what the F would be. But nonetheless, we're going to get ready to go back to battle. And ladies and gentlemen, we will jump into our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up. So crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here in the Midland Struggler 270 live from Chicagoland Speedway as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Alrighty, the caution flag does get displayed here. Yellow flag out on the racetrack here for these drivers. As that caution flag gets displayed, we'll take a look back and see what happens, see what brings out the yellow here this evening, as it looks like Caleb McKinney running into some problems here. Let's take a look at it and see what happens. As McKinney to the outside here of that number 25 of Edward Belair. This is just inside our top 5, and then there's contact right there. McKinney goes around down through the infield there, back up onto the racetrack. Luckily enough, so far looks like everyone able to avoid him. Maybe a couple drivers scrubbing that outside fence, but looks like everyone able to keep himself pointed in the right direction. Let's see if we can take another look at it here and see what happened and what got this number 76 Ryan turned around here. Let's see if the contact is there running up against the outside fence. Looks like the 25 just kind of moves up. Maybe the 25 or 76 comes down a little bit there. Nonetheless, they make contact. Around goes that 76 off the nose of that 25 ride, and that will put us back under the caution flag here in this one. As a tough break there for the 76 machine. Definitely not a spot you ever want to be in, and going around, and now we'll see a lot of drivers making some strategy calls. Pretty much everyone down pit side. There's Haller, Billy Jordan, Anthony Garland, Kurt Sponsler, Chad Lancaster, Cameron Combs, Gary Wright, Robert Tuiscu, Johnny Thunders, Edward Belair, all down pit road making green flag pit stops. Or not green flag, but caution flag pit stops here this evening, as the yellow flag does get displayed, and drivers do head down pit road, getting fuel, getting tires, and everything that they desire here this evening. As we did see Mike Killingbeck. Killingbeck stayed out right there. The Lawrence Tech number 70 Ryan did not come down pit side, and he will stay out on the racetrack here. And let's see if he decides to come down pit road. It's been about 21 laps since he was down pit side. Fuel is going to be starting to get a little bit tight for him, and the strategy here, I'm not sure if it's going to work out or not for this number 70 machine here. We'll have to wait and see what his call may be if he elects to come back down pit road. Does not look like he is going to head down there that time, so he's going to stay out on the racetrack here. And it's going to be interesting to see how this one kind of plays out. Is definitely a bit of a bold strategy out there, staying on the racetrack here, having those older tires and everything else may not work out in his favor here this evening, as we'll get them all ready to rock and roll, ready to go back to green flag racing, as we'll get them sacked up, racked up, ready to go back to battle here. It is Killingbeck with the race lead. Anthony Garland in position number 2 with Cameron Combs there in third. Then we see Gary Wright, Ryan Haller, our top 5 out there on the racetrack, getting ready to go back to green flag racing here at Chicagoland Speedway. So for each and every one of these drivers looking to try to pick up a win or trying to put themselves into a winning position here this evening, it's going to become very, very interesting in a quick hurry to see who's going to be able to find their way to the front of the field and who can put themselves into that winning strategy here this evening. Maybe trying to save that extra set of tires, maybe trying to keep them underneath your belt there for a little bit longer. Maybe that'll be that difference maker. Maybe that will be the winning strat out there on the speedway for a bunch of these competitors. As we will get ready to rock and roll, we'll get ready to jump back in quickly for a quick little bit of the rest of our break it up here this evening, and then we'll get right back in to the racing action here for the last, 20, 30, 40 laps of this race in just a few more laps. can see a couple of drivers trying to head down pit road as we do see the caution flag come back out. So the yellow flag back out onto the racetrack here for these drivers. They know they need to try to keep themselves out of trouble and hoping they're trying to keep themselves moving in the right direction here this evening as one slip up, one mistake could unfortunately lead you into a bad spot out there on the racetrack. And this caution flag may have been what broke the camel's back here this evening for some of these drivers. They were going to get trapped a lap down, now hoping that they can get the wave around and work themselves back onto the lead lap here this evening. As we'll take a look back and see what brings out this caution flag is unfortunately, let's take a look here and see what happens. Looks like potentially, look like the 77 ride potentially running into some problems here. Casey Gross in the 77 machine. See if we can draw that in, get a little closer look here at the contact as, here you go, you're going to see the 77 and the 99 of Chris kind of comes up. 77 ride unfortunately bam! Heavy hit there for the 77, heavy hit there for the number 60 ride as well as, and that's a heartbreaker right there for Johnny Thunders, as Johnny definitely did not want to see that, definitely did not want to get tied up in that one, man. Ended up with a ton of damage there on his race car, and unfortunately here this evening, not the spot that he really wanted to be in, as he's just trying to roll down through there and all of a sudden ended up in a very, very tough position and ended up with a ton of damage and chaos there onto his front bumpers. Let's see if we can jump on board with Johnny Thunders, one of our birthday boys here this evening, and take a look at the contact as he's rolling in behind these guys, just trying to keep himself out of trouble here this evening, and unfortunately, trouble's going to find him. He's going to come right into his lap. Oh man, tough break, tough hit right there for Johnny Thunders. Not a whole lot of things that he could do to try to avoid that contact, and unfortunately ends up with some heavy damage. Have to use that quick repair, try to get that car fixed up and back out there onto the racetrack, and it looks like that's exactly what he has done as he still rolls in the 5th position. That timely caution flag kind of helped him out right there. A lot of these drivers up in front of him going to be looking for the wave around here, like this number 14 of Billy Jordan and Caleb McKinney, Devin Black, Kurt Sponsler, killing back Anthony Garland, Chris Muse. A lot of these drivers going to be looking for wave arounds or lucky dogs, trying to get themselves back onto the lead lap as now we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. A beautiful Peacemaker Gaming crank it up here as these guys put on a heck of a show there for us. As Play for Cheat says, let's go Cameron. Cheered on Cameron Combs out there on the racetrack as Cameron doing a great job there. Now rolling in, I do believe, position number 3 here. That timely caution flag really helped him out as well here on the evening. So for Ryan Haller, though, he's out in front. Just came down pit road. Has some good tires. Not a whole lot of laps left in this race. And for the 20 ride, he's sitting in prime position to try to pick up this checkered flag. Edward Belair there in second. Then we see Cameron Combs and Robert Tuiscu, our top 4. Johnny Thunders there running out our top 5. Gary Wright there in 6th. And then we see Chad Lancaster back in 7th. Billy Jordan there in 8th. Caleb McKinney in 9th. Devin Black, Kurt Sponsler, Mike Killingbeck, Anthony Garland, our top 13. Chris Muse, first car 1 lap down there in 14th with Josh Bromfield, Al Reed, Adolfo Castillo, and Casey Gross bringing up the rear of the field as Casey still down pit side. Unfortunate break there for him as here we go. Great restart right there for Ryan Haller. Haller quickly onto the lap pedal, able to open up a sizable lead down through quarter number 1 and 2 and looking to try to run away with it, but Cameron Combs trying to hunt him down. Combs trying to get right to his back bumper as they head down the back straightaway. Nice and easy down to the corner number 3. Here comes that mobile 1, number 15, down to the inside. Now there's still quite a few laps left in this race is down across the line. They will click off lap number 95. We get 15 laps left to go here in this race. So 15 laps left here. You could probably play it a little bit easy. If you're the 20 ride here, you don't want to let Cameron Combs go too far away, but you can try to take it a little bit easy, try to roll out of that throttle a little sooner, try to save those tires a little bit more, and try to use them to your advantage in the final 10 or, maybe even 7 laps or so. Maybe trying to save them, not burn them up too quickly out there on the racetrack may be the best bet to have the faster car in a couple laps from now, but he is not done yet. He wants to keep on battling with this 15 ride. Cameron Combs does not want to have that 15 ride out in front of him here, so definitely going to be interesting to see all the strategy that these guys are going to be playing here this evening and in this final run. Even though it's only a 15, 16 lap run, tire wear could still be a little bit of a factor. If you hang out, if you roll that throttle, if you just kind of not burn those tires up as much, maybe in those closing laps, you can find that extra bit of speed. Make that 2 tenths, 3 tenths quicker lap times out there on the racetrack compared to our race leaders and reel them in and make the moves and pass them here. As you see, Haller looks like he may be on that strategy. Looks like he's kind of gotten out of the throttle now, rolling a little bit easier, and now falls back in the groove. And you wouldn't do that. It's not too far away. He's still right there within striking distance of our race leaders, but it's there trying to roll that throttle and trying to put the pressure onto everybody else and just trying to run away with this race. Potentially just trying to take it easy here on those tires may be the difference maker between finding victory lane or not this afternoon. So it's all about that strategy call and what you want to do out there on the speedways. Tuisku does slide back into the top spot. Here's Tuisku down low. Will jump in front of Cameron Combs. Gary Wright now in the third. Is Haller right there in position number 4 and looking for more. Caleb McKinney back in position number 5 here in that 76 ride. Then we see Chad Lancaster, Billy Jordan, and then we see Edward Van Lair there in 8th, back in 9th, and Mike Killingback rounding out our top 10 there in the 70 ride as he battles right there door to door. Kurt Sponsor trying to get that Midland Struggler Elite Sim Racing number 49 ride up inside the top 10, and after making the move around that 70 ride, he will jump back into the 10th position for that 49 ride and looking to see if he can keep on moving himself up through the field here as he's trying to get around the 25 right now. Edward Van Lair seeing if he can catch up to that 81 right of Anthony Garland as they are running tight back here in the field. Everyone's still trying to race their way to the front here. Johnny Thunder's right there in that battle as well as Robert Tuisku continues to lead this race. Tuisku out in front. You do see Haller continue to fall back even farther here. I'm sure if Haller did not put tires onto this ride, so did off this run. Very, very good, but now starting to fall back maybe a little too far here from our race leaders. Maybe trying to save those tires, but maybe it's a little bit too much. And for the 20 ride, falls all the way back now into that 6th position on the racetrack and whittling away from our race leaders. Here in this one is Tuisku out in front. Robert Tuisku has the race lead. Cameron Combs there in second as there's contact between the 02 of Lancaster and the 16 of Gary Wright. They're tied together up on the outside lane. There's the caution flag. Caution flag will be displayed here late in this race. And oh baby, this is gonna be a shootout down to the checkered flag as contact between the 02 and the 16. You see a great run coming from this 02 machine. Tries to shoot from the outside here of the 16 ride, and I'm not sure if they just run out of room up there. So the 02 trying to go to that outside groove. Unfortunately, there wasn't too much room up there to start with, and unfortunately, as he does jump out there, 16 kind of holding his groove, kind of holding his line. All of a sudden, they run out of room. The 02 already into the fence. Unfortunately, 16 kind of comes up. They come together, and around he goes over the nose there of that 02. Lancaster and Gary Wright both getting some pretty solid contact and damage right there as they skid down through corner number 1 and into corner number 2 here. Unfortunate damage for them. And we did see that Poultry Shack 31 right of Adolfo Castillo also having some issues there as well as he kind of got through that. He was able to avoid that contact down or up on the high side. And then he shoots down low here on the apron, comes back up the track, and he sees the 20 right and Ryan Haller right here. So he watches Haller in the 20 right. Haller goes down onto the apron. Then as Haller comes back onto the track, I think Adolfo thought that he was going to end up running into the 20 right, in which case he may have. As he comes up the speedway to avoid the 20 right, he just ends up clipping the 81 of Anthony Garland. Unfortunately for Anthony, gets turned around up into the outside fence there. Pretty good damage for both the 31 and the 81 right there, and definitely not what Anthony wanted. Definitely did not want to get tied up in another big wreck like that, and unfortunately some pretty solid contact there onto his rear end as you do see Lancaster, Devin Black, Mike Killingback, and Gary Wright all down pit road making what could be their final pit stops here today. And Ryan Haller, he's up into position number 4 here. And with some of those drivers back there deeper in the field, maybe have fresher tires back there behind pit wall. Maybe they can use it to their advantage here if they got enough time. They may be able to race their way to the front of the field with the fresher tires back there. And we're looking at Lancaster, Gary Wright, Mike Killingback, Josh Bromfield just got back on the lead lap with the Lucky Dog. We'll see if he heads down pit road. Maybe he's got an extra set back there behind pit wall, as well as Devin Black here. Devin, He is now back on the lead lap as well. He scored back in 14th. He did come down pit side, does have those fresher tires on that beautiful Poor Boy Motorsports number 7 machine. We'll have to wait and see if they can navigate their way to the front here as Adolfo still a lap down out there in the 15th position. Him and Chris Muse, unfortunately, after going a lap down early in this race, they just have not been able to catch the lucky breaks that they've been looking for, the lucky dogs or anything else to try to get those laps back and put themselves back into the competition here. Same with Al Reed in that 3 machine. Casey Gross still down pit side, still after that heavy damage there not too long ago, and for that 77 ride, looks like his night may be over. That goose is cooked and parked down on pit lane here this evening as Twisku gonna get ready for a big restart here. He elects to choose the outside lane, so Twisku will start to the outside of Cameron Combs here for the restart. Caleb McKinney there in 3rd, Ryan Haller up and into 4th. Then we see Billy Jordan, Kurt Sponsler, Anthony Garland, Johnny Thunders, Chad Lancaster, Edward Belair, our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Mike Killingbeck, Gary Wright, Devin Black, Josh Brumfield are top 14 with Adolfo Castillo back in position number 15. Al Reed, Chris Muse, and Casey Gross bringing up the rear of the field as we get ready for what could be our final restart of the day. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're just tuning in here this evening, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that like button on the stream right now and hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today as we get ready. Go back to now. We get ready to duke it out here. This is going to be a very short running 5-lap shootout here to complete this race here this evening is down across the line. Here we go. In through the Geico restart zone. The green flag back out into the air. A solid restart right there for the 6th ride, but Cameron Combs sticking right there with them. Same with Caleb McKinney and Ryan Haller as they head down into corner number 1 and out of 2. The 6th rider, Robert Twisku, holds that race lead as he opens up a bit of a gap between himself and Cameron Combs. As you do see Haller door to door here with Caleb McKinney. McKinney trying to stay in position number 3. Haller trying to knock him out of that 3rd spot as here comes Anthony Garland. Garland may have had something left up his sleeve here, and same with that 49 rider Kurt Sponsler as they race their way up towards the top 5. A little bit of contact, a little bit of rubbing and scrubbing. Chad Lancaster right there in the mix. Same with Mike Killingbeck. Killingbeck and Lancaster were both just down pit road. They may have that final in good set of tires on their race cars and trying to use them, trying to drive up through the field. But for Twisku, he's got a sizable gap now, 0.3 of a second between himself and the 15 of Cameron Combs. Caleb McKinney hanging on to 3rd right there, and then you see Ryan Haller as there's contact back there behind him. Contact, look out, Lancaster down through the infield. No caution flag, we keep it clean and green, but he does wash back up onto the racetrack. No yellow flag as of yet. Hard contact there, tough break for Kurt Sponsler in the 0-2 of Lancaster. Let's take a look back and see what happens here quickly between these two. As down out of corner number 4, just looks like the 0-2 trying to take a big run down to the inside here of Anthony Garland. Unfortunately, as he cuts down the racetrack, the 49's kind of coming up from the bottom there, and all of a sudden they just end up running into each other right there, and unfortunately, 0-2 gets sideways. They both wash down the racetrack into the infield, and unfortunately, both of them go to the rear of the field here as the caution flag will be displayed. Yellow flag is out on the racetrack now. Oh, baby. You're so close to the white flag, and the yellow flag comes back out. We're about 2 laps away, or at least a lap away from the white flag, 2 laps away from the checker flag. And for Robert Twisku, our race leader, definitely not what he wanted to see, as another late race yellow flag will be displayed, and we will go to NASCAR overtime here this evening. So NASCAR overtime on the docket tonight is, let's take a look at it. It is the 70 ride, that red machine, the Lawrence Tech University ride of Mike Killingbeck, Anthony Garland, and the 14 of Billy Jordan here. They are 3 wide right now, and then all of a sudden down into corner number 1, just unfortunately, I'm not sure if Killingbeck didn't realize they were 3 wide or if Garland comes down. Nonetheless, they end up making some contact here. Let's take a look here. Yeah, it just looks like the 70 keeps coming up the racetrack. Looks like he's trying to run more of the middle lane right there, and I don't think he realized that they were 3 wide. Didn't think he was... Maybe thought he was clear of the 81 ride, or didn't think that the 14 was there and Anthony was going to keep on going up, and unfortunately he just moves up across the nose there of Anthony Garland and slams up into that 14 ride of Billy Jordan. Billy nowhere to go, nothing he could do, just gets sandwiched there into the fence, and unfortunately heavy damage for killing Beck and that 14 ride is a late race caution flag. Will stack everyone back up, and now we'll get ready for a green-white checkered finish here this evening. Wisku has the race lead. Cameron Combs there in second. Caleb McKinney back in third with Ryan Haller there in fourth. And then we see Anthony Garland back in fifth. Johnny Thunders there in sixth. Devin Black, Gary Wright, Edward Belair, Josh Bromfield, our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Kurt Sponsler there in 11th. Chad Lancaster back in 12th. Billy Jordan now in 13th with Adolfo Castillo now back on the lead lap. He scored there in the 14th spot. Mike Killingbeck now a lap down, scored back in 15th with Chris Muse in 16th. Al Reed back in 17th, and Casey Grove still down pit side, scored back in the 18th position. As we'll get ready for NASCAR overtime here this evening from Chicagoland Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you guys know what to do. Hit that gosh heckin' subscribe button right now. Become a part of the Peacemaker family here today. Hit that subscribe button, become part of the fam jam here this evening, and definitely make sure you hit that like button, jump into the comment section, let us know who you're cheering for and who you want to see up and into victory lane here this evening, as each and every one of these drivers getting ready for a absolutely massive restart right here. You gotta hit your marks, you gotta make yourself, flick through those gears in a quick hurry, but not too quick. You don't want to make a mistake and upshift too soon. You don't want to downshift by accident and ruin your race, as this final restart is going to make or break your day. You could end up with a good spot, you could end up with a very bad spot. One simple slip up, one mistake out there on the racetrack, and you could be going in the wrong direction in a quick hurry. And if we see that white flag fly, the next flag will end this race no matter what. But if we do see the caution flag come back out before the white flag is thrown, we will stack them up, we will rack them up, and we will have our second attempt at NASCAR overtime here this evening. I do believe we will have 3 attempts, and then this race will end under yellow, and that's something that none of these drivers want to see. They want to see this finish under the racing conditions. They do not want to see this race end under the yellow flag here this evening, so they're going to try to get this done right here, and I think these drivers are talented enough that they may be able to make it happen, but some of these drivers definitely have a little bit of a different tire game than others. Some have some fast cars, others are struggling a little bit right now late in this race on the older tires, so it's going to be interesting to see who will find their way up and into victory lane. But here we go. We're going to find out as Tuwiscu, our race leader, has the outside lane and down through the Geico restart zone. Gets a great restart, and he quickly launches out in front, and that's going to bring Ryan Haller right there with him. Haller looking to move up into third here as he clears that 76 of Caleb McKinney. McKinney, though, trying to battle back strong down low. McKinney down to the inside of that 20 rider. Tuwiscu leads us down the back straightaway. Here comes Cameron Combs, though. Combs right to the back bumper here of our race leader. Combs going to use the outside lane. Tuwiscu down low as here they come down through corner 3 and out of 4. Back down across the start finish line. We will see that white flag fly one more time here for Robert Tuwiscu to try to pick up the Midland Struggler 270 here in the Outcast Racing League. He's got one more lap to try to get it done here in this one, and he opens up a couple car length lead down the back straightaway. So Tuwiscu leads us down into corner number 3, a little bit of breathing room between himself and that 15 ride, and now he sees Caleb McKinney peeking his nose underneath that 15 machine as Tuwiscu down and out of corner number 4 as they battle back behind him. Tuwiscu will pick up the checkered flag here this evening in the Midland Struggler 270 here at Chicagoland Speedway. It's Tuwiscu who gets the job done and parks that RT3Designs.com number 6 ride up and in to victory lane as the RT3 Design ride is going to get ready to burn down the house. It's Cameron Combs who comes home in second, Caleb McKinney back in third, Ryan Haller comes home in position number 4, and Johnny Thunders, one of our birthday boys, coming home there in that 5th position. Anthony Garland, another one of our birthday drivers here this evening, they're in 6th. So a great run, a solid drive by both of our birthday competitors here this afternoon, but nobody better than this number 6 machine as the Elite Sim Racing number 6 rider Robert Tuwiscu picks up the checker flag as his teammate Cameron Combs right behind him getting ready to celebrate. Same with his other teammate there in that beautiful Midland Struggler number 49 ride. Beautiful looking ride here, and our sponsored car here this evening, our series sponsor, our race sponsor, running on board with that 49 ride here this evening. It's to celebrate down there after a solid 11th place run and being able to celebrate with his teammates here as Robert Tuwiscu with the win. Cameron Combs coming home in second and a 1-2 Elite Sim Racing finish here this evening as Haynes Kev says wanted that podium finish so bad, but I'll take a 4th finish. Yeah, solid run, great drive for you here tonight, brother, as you do see all these Elite Sim Racing rides getting ready to celebrate here on the front straightaway. Oh, baby, they're going to start wrecking each other there as well. Contact between the 15 of Cameron Combs and the 49 of Kurt Sponsors. You do see Al Reed joining these guys. Unfortunately for Al, an early pit stop mistake unfortunately put him a couple laps down, and just could never get those laps back, could never get back onto lead lap and back into the action, back into the battle here this evening. A heartbreaker there for him as Tuwiscu does get the job done, though, does find his way up and into victory lane, and we'll get ready to pull our top 3 up and into the booth here for their post-race interviews. Post-race interviews coming up next as we'll try to get all these drivers up and into the booth here for their post-race interviews as soon as they slide into the waiting room here in this one. We'll get ready to pull them up and in and see who's going to be able to celebrate the most, who's going to be more excited here between, I'm assuming it's going to be Tuwiscu, man. He's going to be pumped about picking up the dump here. Cameron Combs is going to be pretty psyched about a solid second place run and seeing his teammate pick up the win here this evening. Going to be a special one here for the Elite Sim Racing guys as we'll wait for them to jump up into the broadcast booth as there they are. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Give it up here for our race winner as Mr. Robert Tuwiscu picking up the checker flag and parking himself up and into victory lane. We'll pull him up into the broadcast booth for his post-race interview from victory lane. Hey Rob, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Got you, Aaron. How you doing, bud?
Not too bad, Rob, man. What a run. What a drive for you here in this one. Take us back through it, man. Obviously, a little bit of strategy going on out there, trying to save an extra set of tires for late in this race, and then just trying to have a fast car, trying to time those, green flag pit stops perfectly here, and it works out for you as a lot of other drivers run into those pit cycle strategies and pit cycle woes, and all of a sudden it's a pretty short run to this checkered flag, and you're able to just put the throttle down, race your way back to the front of the field here, and then keep all these drivers back there at bay, even with the late race caution flags, man. Take us back through this race, and what's going through your mind right now as you get to celebrate down in victory lane?
I got to tell you, in the words of the great Adolfo Castillo, it was a true Cinderella story for me, man. I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's definitely my first ORL win, so to do it here, it's absolutely amazing, man. I don't know. I felt real good on the track. Everybody, had some door action there with Anthony a few times, and kept her straight, kept it going. A lot of it was Cam, and Cam was in my ear the whole time, talking to me and Kurt, letting us know what to do, when to pit, when to take tires. Really, I couldn't have won this race without Cam. So thanks a lot to him. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and Cam being right there behind you across the line. A 1-2 finish here for you two in the Elite Sim Racing crew, and obviously there with a couple late race restarts, having your teammate alongside you and to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, but knowing that there's so many of these other fast cats back there behind you, were you getting a little nervous there on that green-white checkered?
Oh, brother, I'm still shaking from it, man. Probably the last 30 laps, I realized, I got a chance at this. And I kept working my way up, pushing my way up there, and we came up to the last couple of restarts there where I was starting it, and I'm not good there. It's not my strong point. I hate restarts, so I actually had Cam counting down for me. It was just so I knew when to go and I didn't make a mistake.
Absolutely. Well, teamwork makes the dream work. And Rob, tonight you're able to finally find yourself up and into victory lane here with the Elite Sim Racing crew, and obviously with the Outcast Racing League, man, it's going to feel very, very special, and being able to do it here at Chicagoland Speedway, a very, very fun, very fast racetrack, a lot of action and a lot of door-to-door battles out there, and you're able to do it better than everybody else here this evening as you find yourself up and into victory lane. Rob, who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here in your first win?
Yeah, first and foremost, I got to thank my team. I mean, they make this all possible. They're the reason I'm here, every weekend. So, I want to thank you for the broadcast, man. I love them. I watch them back on Monday mornings when I'm at work. Shouldn't, but I enjoy it. And then, of course, Anthony and all the other admins here at ORL. This is just, it's home, man. It's such a great league. I've been through a lot in the last couple of years, and these guys have really been there for me. So, I appreciate it all.
Absolutely. Well, brother, this one definitely is going to deserve a drink, so go get yourself an adult beverage and enjoy this victory, brother, and party hard here this evening. Congratulations on the win here this afternoon in Chicagoland Speedway, picking up the checkered flag. Hopefully many more in the future to come for you, Rob, and many more, good runs for you and your Elite Sim Racing teammates. You guys come home 1 and 2, and you're able to put yourself finally up into victory lane, man. Congrats on the dub, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here, maybe before the end of this season.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night, and definitely tonight, party hard down in victory lane. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Robert Tuwiscu. As Tuwiscu picks up the dub and pulls that number 6 ride up and into victory lane here at Chicagoland Speedway. As his teammate coming home in position number 2, it is Cameron Combs. Combs coming home in that second spot here this evening. We'll get ready to pull him up here into the broadcast booth as Haynes Kemp says, congrats, Robert. I'll get that W on Peacemaker eventually. Laugh out loud. Yes, sir. I thought tonight maybe was going to be your night as well there, Mr. Haller, but unfortunately had to settle in for that 4th place run here this evening as Cameron Combs, our second place driver, waiting down patiently pit side. Let's pull him up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Cameron, and it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Cameron, man, a solid run, a great drive out there this evening, and you're able to have this, couple late race restarts right there alongside your teammate Robert Tuwiscu, and I'm sure you would love to have found victory lane yourself, but I'm sure definitely felt pretty good being able to stay right there and help your teammate pick up a big checkered flag here, his first ever Outcast Racing League win here in this race, man. Take us back through it. What's going to go through your mind right now as you get to celebrate with Tuwiscu down there in victory lane?
Yeah, I was listening to his interview. Don't let him fool you. He was definitely a little bit faster than me. He got around me, and with the restarts, I just couldn't get back to him. So it's a good day for ESR. 1-2 finished. It's great for Rob to finally get a win, and I'm pretty emotional for him. I know he's been here for a while, and for him to get his first win with me being his teammate is definitely awesome.
Absolutely, being his teammate, being able to follow him right down across the start-finish line there for the 1-2 finish, man. But take us back through this race yourself. Obviously, a lot of different pit strategies, a lot of different pit calls, and you were making the calls there for the Elite Sim Racing guys, and when to pit, when to save those tires, and when to use them. And then late in this race, we all of a sudden see you and Tuwiscu right up here battling for this race win.
Yeah, so everybody else kind of pitted under a green flag there that last pit stop, and me and Rob and I think somebody else kind of stayed out and ran as long as we could, and that kind of helped us get a jump on the field and stay out in front of everybody, and having a couple lap fresher tires definitely helped a little bit.
Absolutely, it all plays out perfectly for us here tonight as Cameron, you come home in position number 2 here this evening at Chicagoland Speedway. Another amazing run, another amazing race for yourself, man, and another good points day in your hunt for trying to pick up this championship here this year. How does it feel to come home in that second spot?
Yeah, it definitely helps. I think I was second in points coming into this race, so it definitely helps keep the points up and helps give us a fight towards the championship. Hopefully we get it this season.
Absolutely. There's only a few more races left here in the year, and now finally getting that monkey off Twisku's back, getting him up into victory lane. Now you guys can really focus on trying to battle and trying to figure out a way to win that championship at Daytona International Speedway in a few weeks' time. But Cameron, who would you like to thank here tonight for such a great run and great drive out there on the racetrack?
As always, I got to thank the ESR team. Thank you for the broadcasting, all the admins for putting this thing on and having a fun league, and really a second home to me. So just got to thank everybody for that.
Absolutely. Well, Cameron, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, brother, and we can't wait to see you guys back out on the racetrack next Sunday and hopefully see maybe you and Twisku right back up here in the broadcast booth.
Definitely.
You enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Cameron Combs. Combs coming home there in position number 2 here this evening. Solid run, solid drive there for that 15 machine as we'll get running out to pull in our third place finisher, Caleb McKinney. Hey, Caleb, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Caleb, man, another strong run, another great race here for you tonight, man. Take us back through this one. Obviously, a lot of different pit strategies and green flag pit stops, and we saw a couple times there you kind of got, locked in a little bit behind those guys on that pit cycles and on those pit strategy calls, and unfortunately kind of held you back there for a little while. But we see a few times race your way up towards the front of the field before all of a sudden finding your way back to the rear of the pack again. But you're late in this race, making a late race charge, battling up there into that third position, and then hoping to try to get one of these good restarts to be able to try to battle there with Cameron and with the 6-rider Twisku for the race win. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get to Twisku, but you did get a great opportunity there on that final lap to try to steal position number 2 away from Cameron, but he was able to stay just a little bit in front of you.
Yeah, man. Just going back through this race a little bit. Just at the start, I just didn't get going on the restart like I wanted to, and I just fell back to I think 7th. And I just got hung 3 wide, and I just really wasn't ready for it, and I just got bumped. Well, I did it myself, but I just got ping pong between 2, and luckily I saved the car, and a really good finish at the end of stage 1 to get 2nd. So that was a really good rebound. And start of stage 2, I didn't really take any tires because I really had nothing to lose. I got decent stage points, and it kind of screwed me a little bit, sort of. And we fought back through that at coming to the end of stage 2, and there was a really good caution, which saved me tremendously. I think 10 laps in the second stage, which was a saving grace to get me back on a lead lap, and so get me back in this race to finish 3rd. And just a big shout out to Rob for getting his first win, and the ESR guys, along with the Quantum team, for helping me out this race. And yeah, that's about it.
Really heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening for you, Caleb, and able to park that 76 back up on the podium here tonight after a week off there with Memorial Day last week, and right back into the swing of things here this evening, and hopefully a few races left on the season. How are you looking there, points-wise, trying to go for that championship here this season, man? How are you feeling now after this race?
Oh, it's definitely going to be close. I know I'm a little bit ahead of Cameron, but with him finishing in front of me a little bit, I think that's going to narrow it down a little bit to, I think we're within 6 to 7 points, if I'm correct. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun battle till the end, and a really fun battle at Charlotte and the final 2 super speedways. And I'm 100% ready for it. So yeah.
Absolutely, definitely going to be a crazy finish here to the season. Obviously, with those couple super speedways, they're always kind of a bit of a Hail Mary race for some drivers, and obviously a race that you can have a good run, have a good race, and just kind of mind your own business and be taken out there. So it's going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of carnage, and a lot of craziness there at Talladega and Daytona to finish off this season, and hopefully for all the final 3 races, hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth, where you're going to have a lot of hungry drivers there trying to knock you out of this 3rd spot or trying to find their way for the first time up into victory lane. So it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be fun to watch, and we can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Sunday. Caleb, congrats on the great run. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank here for a solid performance here tonight?
Yeah, man, I'd like to give a big shout out to Casey and Mike for sticking it to the end. I'm pretty sure they got wrecked at the end there, but yeah, I'd like to also give a shout out to Adolfo Castillo for sticking it with me through this also, and that's it.
Well, Caleb, heck of a run, heck of a race for you, brother. We can't wait to see you back out on the racetrack next Sunday, and hopefully right back up here in the broadcast booth. Brother, enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Caleb McKinney. As McKinney comes home there in that 3rd spot on the racetrack, a heck of a run and a heck of a drive there for him. A great run, great drive for all of these competitors, man. A lot of great battling, a lot of back and forth, a lot of door-to-door, 2 wide, 3 wide, a little bit of 4 wide racing action here this evening. And as the dust settles, it's Robert Tuiscu who finds himself up and into victory lane. His first win here with the Outcast Racing League. It's been a long time coming, and definitely a very good night for the league when we see one of those OG drivers put themselves up and into victory lane. And for Tuiscu, definitely finally good to get that monkey off his back, finally be able to be crowned as a race winner here in the Outcast Racing League, man. A very deserving winner and an absolutely amazing race by that 6th ride here today, and we can't wait to see him back out there on the racetrack and maybe right back up here into victory lane next Sunday. Is unfortunately that is going to do it for us here in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for our race winner, Robert Tuiscu. Give it up for all these drivers, and make sure, if you haven't already, do us a favor right now. It's absolutely free to do. Helps us out a ton. Hit that like on the stream. Hit that like button for us right now on the broadcast if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button as well. Hit that sub button. Become a part of the Peacemaker family here today, and turn those bell notifications on whenever we go live and whenever the green flag gets thrown here on Peacemaker. As we'll be back to green flag racing a little later on here this evening, as we got some more NASCAR racing later on tonight for everyone to enjoy. So make sure you guys tune in and show some love and enjoy some more great racing here later on the evening. But we can't thank you guys enough already for coming in, showing the love, and enjoying this amazing racing league here at the Outcast Racing League. And a huge shout out to Midland Struggler as well. Midland Struggler coming on board not only as our our opening theme song there with the Outcast Racing League, but also supporting us as a league altogether as a sponsor, and then sponsoring this race as well. Make sure you guys go check out Midland Struggler over on YouTube or over on Spotify. Check out their amazing music, man. Drop them a follow, save that playlist, and keep listening to their amazing music over there at Midland Struggler. So make sure you guys check them out. But man, what a run, what a race, what a drive by each and every one of these competitors, and we can't wait to see them back in action next Sunday. But thank you all for watching, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys later on here this afternoon. Peace out for now, baby. Peace out for now, ladies and gentlemen.
Engines roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray. Louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.